the beauty of this resource, and as I keep saying, I'll demonstrate to you in a moment, is it does all these things. And again, let me remind you that when you see histology, think of anatomy, think of lots of other topics that we teach in medical colleges. There's an enormous amount of content in it. It contains over several thousand images. It encourages self-directed and independent learning for students, and that's an essential requirement now for students. They need to be independent learners. The students loved it because it has a whole lot of assessment packages in it. And I found over the few years that it's been operating that the numbers of their grades have increased and increased and increased because they access all these assessment packages. And I say, look, if I put all these questions about histology in this assessment package and you go through them and you improve your performances, well, when you come and do the final exam, there's very little else I can actually test you on. And that's why they do so well. So that's the students like that. Students have fun. They engage with each other. One of the things that these e-learning does and these resources do, it encourages students to work together. Collaborative learning. We all work together in our workplace. We wouldn't survive as a school or a department if we didn't. Why shouldn't we try and encourage our students to do that when they're learning as well? So this is something that actually encourages learning to be fun, collaborative learning. It also brings out, you know, when you teach histology or even anatomy, I don't know what it's like here, but in Australia we have some very shy students. Students that just are too afraid to ask questions. This helps them to get around that. It helps them to ask questions through the resource, and it gets them away from being what I would call very quiet learners, very shy learners, and not very successful ones. They can access this at any time, any place. My students now do some histology completely online. They don't need to do labs. Gone is all that expensive running labs, teaching time, costs. The requirement may not be in some courses to look down a microscope and to be able to identify all these things and navigate through a slide, particularly in a medical curriculum, because it's not necessary now in their professional life. But they do have to have a very solid understanding of histology. They can now do that online, as they could anatomy and some other topics. And it's not expensive and it reduces the teaching budget. The other thing it does for you possibly, if you look in this image, our students learn together. Males and females learn together, they share resources together, they come to the same lectures and same labs. A setup like e-learning, a resource like this gives you the opportunity to then teach to distant education students. And I think your female cohorts of students are in that category if I'm not wrong. So that's how it all started.